Hey everyone, welcome to a 2016 Mercedes-Benz C300. This car is brought to us by First International Auto Group here in Merrimack, New Hampshire, so thank you to them. So here we have a Mercedes that has an inline turbocharged 4-cylinder that makes 241 horsepower or 273 pound-feet of torque. Obviously the last generation had a 6-cylinder engine, and starting in 2014 they switched to this generation of C300, which is actually 200 pounds lighter thanks to the aluminum body, and that is also 300 pounds lighter than the competing BMW 3 Series at the time. So with that being said, we have a black interior with a dark ash open pore wood trim in this interior, and obviously at first glance it is quite nice. So we have this cardinal red metallic color and these 5-spoke wheels. Tire size is 225s. The rims are 17-inch alloy rims. We have daytime running lights here in the front. And honestly, I could say that this is probably my favorite designed C300 throughout their entire, generation history. We have a panoramic sunroof, and obviously that also kind of blends itself to be kind of like a black roof on the C300, which is quite nice. We have this chrome detail that kind of runs itself through the body lines of the car here on the sides. Trunk space is adequate. Obviously the seats fold down, but really what's going to hinder you is the clearing on the roof for these trunks into the cabin, which honestly is why I tell people to get a hatch. Getting into these back seats, sitting behind myself, I don't have a ton of room, probably about the same as the BMW i3 I reviewed last week, which is kind of funny. I just think that overall the front of the cabin gets a lot of the room in here, and these back seats are almost kind of an afterthought, besides the nice finishes, which we obviously have the little wood back here, and we have the nice stitching and leather throughout the back of the cabin as well, so we weren't quite forgotten there. We also have vents down here, which this little knob you can kind of control the airflow. And we have this 8-speaker audio system that continues to the back. Please note that the door sound is also quite luxurious. It kind of has this click to it that I really like. So obviously you can see in this interior, we don't have a traditional gear lever here, which you would see in an automatic, but we actually have our gear selector here up on the turnstock. And so to switch it into reverse, you would go up. As you can see here, we have our backup camera. And then to switch it into drive, you would just go down. So this 2016 Mercedes-Benz C300 also has available smartphone integration using a USB cord, but still at this time it was an option that you had to pay for, so a lot of the base model C300s did not come with it, obviously. So in the front here we have 14-way adjustable seats, which are really nice. They both have memory and they're leather. Both are heated as well, so you really have a lot of comfort here in the front for you and your front passenger. So I know a lot of people didn't like when Mercedes switched to this inline turbocharged 4-cylinder, but it's got a lot of low-end torque, and honestly I have no issues with it whatsoever. I think Mercedes decided to spend a lot more of their money for these C300s in this interior, and it really shows. You have all these nice finishes, you have these aluminum switches that feel really nice to your hands, so you can basically adjust every setting in this car with a button, which you can't say for the new C300s. So I think this is really the sweet spot in their lineup. So at nearly highway speeds, the ride is quite smooth. Obviously we kind of have some glass roads here that skew my reviews sometimes because of just how smooth these roads are. So we also have this panoramic sunroof that has a little visor that comes up to break some of the wind up, make it so you don't have wind buffeting, and it's really nice. So playing with the modes here, we're actually going to switch it into Sport Plus, which is really what wakes this car up. I found that Sport mode doesn't really do a whole lot. It actually even leaves the auto start stop function on, which I think is kind of a mistake. So at even about 40% throttle, you can see this car really wakes up and kind of gives you a lot of low-end torque. So what's nice about this 2016 Mercedes-Benz C300 is you can really play around with the settings. They have an individual mode where you can change the steering, the dampening, and obviously the engine as well, which kind of mostly just relates to the transmission and how aggressive the shifts will be and when they will come. But what's nice is you can kind of have, you know, your engine in comfort while you have your steering in sport. If that's something that appeals to you, you can really adjust this car to however you please. I also really love this steering wheel. It fits nice in your hands and it kind of contours to your hands as well. It has this interesting shape right here at 10 and 2 that I really just love. It's obviously leather wrapped as well. We don't have a heated steering wheel, but honestly I've never found the need for it. And the steering is quite nice. This is definitely one of the most quiet interiors I've ever been in. I just think that the sound deadening, even at the low end of the Mercedes lineup here in the C300, is really awesome. So if you were deciding between, say, a low-end S-Class pre-owned or one of these C300s brand new, I would lean towards the C300, whether a new one or if you're trying to really save some money, get this pre-owned one here at First International Auto Group for quite a value. You get all the bells and whistles in this interior with the memory seats, the heated seats, the panoramic sunroof, and this awesome 8-inch infotainment screen. I just think that you really kind of have everything you need in a car. So if you don't plan on kind of having some sporty driving with this car, I recommend just throwing it into comfort. The engine will be quite quiet, your shifts will be smooth, and you really will just kind of almost fall asleep in here. We also have keyless entry and keyless start, which I've always said is kind of the sweet spot. You can't have keyless start without having keyless entry because regardless, you're still taking your key out of your pocket. Here you can kind of just leave it in your pocket or leave it in one of your cup holders and forget about it. Just don't forget it in your car when you walk away. So the gas mileage is just acceptable in this car. Obviously the 4-cylinder with the turbo engine is definitely going to help that, especially compared to the previous generation, which, you know, you kind of had that naturally aspirated 6-cylinder. So you will get better fuel economy in this generation of Mercedes C300, but still not as good as, say, like an Elantra or a Camry or something of that matter. So in this interior, we also have dual climate control. And frankly, I feel like it works really well. The AC is cooling me down right here on this hot summer day, and no issues or complaints about that regardless. I will say that this interior is just a really nice place to be, and I think that this is where Mercedes put a lot of the money in this car. So the worst road in Merrimack, New Hampshire got absorbed pretty well by this C300, so obviously no complaints there. I think that the ride, especially in comfort, is really nice. So while it's safe, let's check out this turning radius. It's passable. I would say we also kind of had plenty of space there, but it's definitely passable. So as far as visibility goes, obviously the C300's design really pays homage to a lot of curves and elegance, but I still think they kept a lot of the visibility out the side windows, which I respect, while also making the car just overall pretty to look at. So my one complaint I have with this car so far is that when you change settings and you're not going to Sport Plus, you will actually always have your auto start stop function come back on, even if you've turned it off earlier. I just think that's odd. I feel like the proper way is if it's always off unless you turn it on, and if it has to always be on, then you can turn it off when you first start the car and then forget about it the rest of the drive. I think that's where they should have it. It shouldn't come back on with each time you change your driving mode. I think that's silly. So this steering wheel also features paddle shifters, which actually feel really nice in your hands. They feel premium. They're still like a hard plastic. They're not like an aluminum or a steel like you get in some of the higher end cars, but these are really nice. As far as interior designs, I really think Mercedes nailed it. I love the pilot jet air vents. I think they're so cool. My 1999 Mercury Cougar also had vents like this, and I really do appreciate them. I also think it's quite nice that you can hide like your cup holders and some of your other accessories with these little click up panels. I think that it provides you elegance while also having the convenience, like having cup holders in the front and a place to put your phone and your sunglasses, etc. So although we have this infotainment screen, I feel like most of the time you really don't need it. Honestly, I think even just turning it off or ignoring it is probably the best way to go, because you have all your lovely settings right here with these awesome aluminum buttons that feel really good on the hand. These 14-way adjustable leather seats provide you plenty of comfort, and honestly, you could probably have anyone get in this car and find a comfortable position for them. And I think this car will do really well on long road trips. So I really am impressed with the power of this car. I think that it uses the 241 horsepower it has really well. I think the automatic transmission has really quick shifts, and you will have quite a fun time driving this car if you want to throw it into Sport Plus, or you could just kind of cruise back and have a comfortable drive in comfort. With that being said, I think this is the one-size-fits-all Mercedes-Benz. It's not too big where you kind of have to lug it around. It's honestly the perfect size where you can still have usable back seats, an adequate amount of space in the trunk, and really comfortable front driving experience for you and obviously your front passenger here, with the heated seats, the memory seats, the 14-way adjustments, and obviously this premium leather. Thank you for watching this review. Please leave your comments and questions below. Thank you to First International Auto Group for lending me this car. And with that being said, I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.